Hi guys, I'm going over the editing. I know that some of us did this in class, but I want to get these up and I want people to watch this and you can go over and check your work. So obviously this is page B14, the one about Sally the young musician. So do the commas and semicolons first and then use this video to go over and check your work. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you and explain the rules. Okay. Holding an umbrella, comma, rule 9, Sally, comma, rule 6, a young musician, comma, rule 6, stepped into the rain. Rule 9 is when you have that ing phrase that begins the sentence, and then who's doing the holding? It's the subject of the main sentence, that's Sally. And then you have a young musician, and that's in a positive that's interrupting the sentence. And the simple sentence there is, Sally stepped into the rain. She walked quickly because she did not want the guitar case, comma, which did not belong to her, comma, and both of those are rule 7 because the which phrase there is a non-restrictive relative clause, to get wet, comma, rule 1 because of the word but she was not in a hurry. So you got your numbers there as 771. Next sentence. Actually, comma, rule 2, that's an introductory modifier, she was nervous, comma, rule 1, because of the for, FOR, is a coordinating conjunction, for she was going to an audition, semicolon. So the only rule for a semicolon is that both sides of the semicolon are complete sentences. Semicolon, in fact, comma, she would rather have strolled. The band, comma, however, comma, both of those are rule 5, that however is a transitional expression interrupting the sentence. The band, however, was made up of laid-back musicians, comma, rule 6, people whom Sally thought she'd like, because people whom Sally thought she'd like is in a positive redescribing musicians, giving more information. Nevertheless, comma, she felt anxious, rule 2 after nevertheless. Although she knew she was an excellent guitar player, comma, rule 4, because that is a subordinated clause beginning with the conjunction although. Although she knew she was an excellent guitar player, comma, she always fumbled during tryouts, semicolon. Both sides are going to be complete sentences. She was like that when she took tests in school. Next paragraph. After she knocked on the door, comma, rule 4, the drummer led her into the garage, semicolon. Both sides are going to be independent clauses linked together. The drummer led her into the garage, semicolon, this room was where the band practiced, period. A mean-looking guy, comma, the drummer, comma, whom Sally had never met before, comma, asked her what kind of music she liked to play. A mean-looking guy, rule 6, and a positive, the drummer, comma, rule 7, whom Sally had never met before, comma, rule 7, that's extra information in a non-restrictive relative clause. Sally shrugged and said, comma, all kinds. That's rule 8 after said. Note there's no comma after the word shrugged because that's a compound verb phrase, not a compound sentence. Next sentence. When the rest of the band came into the garage, comma, they turned on their instruments. Rule 4 after garage because that's a subordinated clause beginning a sentence, and the clause, of course, begins with when. As soon as they heard Sally jam, comma, and that's rule 4, again, because as soon as, that's a subordinating clause beginning the sentence. So rule 4 after jam, all were impressed, semicolon. So that's a short clause, all were impressed. All is the subject, where is the verb. And as we always say, good writing is a mix of long and short. Semicolon after impressed. In fact, comma, rule 2, both sides are independent clauses. The singer stopped singing in the middle of a line to listen to Sally's lead guitar. All that is, there are no commas, it's just a bunch of prepositional phrases. After several minutes passed, comma, rule 4, after is a subordinating clause, that's the subordinating conjunction with the clause that comes after it. After several minutes passed, comma, rule 4, Sally realized she was playing alone. If you can imagine the word that in a sentence, there's no comma. Sally realized that she was playing alone. After alone, semicolon, she became self-conscious and stopped playing. Again, both sides of a semicolon are, the only rule is that they could be complete sentences on both sides, but they are independent clauses. She said, comma, what's wrong? Rule 8. Nothing, comma, squeeze the comma in next to the G, again, rule 8 with quoted dialogue, the drummer told her. Sally, comma, you're great, and that is rule 10 because he's using her name in direct address. Happily, comma, rule 2, introductory modifier, Sally, comma, rule 9, because what's coming is a participle clause. Now comfortable with her new friends, comma, rule 9, that's the end of the clause, Sally played music for hours. The main clause here is Sally played music for hours. When she left many hours later, comma, rule 4, because when is a subordinating conjunction and that's a subordinated clause, the streets were dark. Independent clause there, rule 1, because of the but the rain had stopped. When she left many hours later, comma, the streets were dark, comma, but the rain had stopped. No longer caring if the guitar case got wet, comma, rule 9, who's no longer caring? The she is that comes after the comma. She splashed in every puddle. You can imagine the word that in there, that she passed. Okay, so I hope that this helps you to understand how to use the commas. Keep checking between here and A10 where the comma rules are, and put a comment in this where I post this, and that will let me know that you've done this, that you've done the page, and that you've looked through this, and you get credit for that. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.